Crossroads.
Andy Beagle, Jensen Development.
Melissa Drake, Plains Area Mental Health.
Carla Monternatt, Counseling Services.
Ashley Miller, Plains Area Mental Health.
Janet Spurlock, Executive Director, Center for Superman.
Pamela Rubin,
Lisa Meyer, Wisdom Industries.
Peter Brown, Wisdom Industries.
Clay Adams, West Industry.
Diana Osmond, Night Services, Inc.
Pat Larson, Howard Center.
Sean Finnegan, Siouxland Mental Health.
Rosa Stella, Social Worker.
Megan Martinez, Buena Vista Regional Medical Center.
Jennifer McKay, Opportunities Unlimited.
Tom Fick, Goodwill, White Creek Plains.
And Chad Johnson. New
Sorry,
Opportunities.
Chad? Okay, thank you. Next up will be the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Board all have a chance to look those over. They were sent out prior. Does anybody have any questions or anything they need to change?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second it. Okay, thank you, Brent and Cecil. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The agenda, approval of the agenda. We've actually had an amended agenda that was sent out yesterday or Monday night. Any other?
Yeah, it was sent yesterday, but it's not a
Okay.
24-hour posting requirement.
Any other changes we need to make to that?
There are no other changes.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks, Neil. I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the motion carries. We're part of the agenda, the meeting where we accept comments from the public. If anybody wants to speak on anything that's not already on the agenda, you're more than welcome to speak now. Anybody has anything they want to bring up? Okay, we'll move on then. Number 6, unfinished business, the monthly financial report.
Okay, we started, Allen County's in the regional fiscal agent fund. We started in March with $398,443.17. Revenues were up in the month of March because of tax collection, so at the county level. The revenue amount totaled $538,455.92. Expenditures were $115,657.35. So fund balance ending $331 and increased to $3,751,241.74. April is the month where we pay a lot of court and block grants, so you're going to see that decrease quite a bit at the end for the next financial report that's presented at May meeting. And one other thing of note is that I had mentioned last month that Ida County was concerned whether they were going to be able to meet their quarterly payment, but they increased enough taxes to be able to make their payment, and it has been received. Their quarterly payment is $41.09, so they made that payment this month. The only payment that is outstanding currently is Calhoun County. All the other counties have met their quarterly contribution.
Okay, is there any other questions for Dawn on the financial piece? If not, I'd accept a motion to approve the financial report.
So moved.
I'll second it. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries. Okay, status of request for ITP reimbursement from the hospitals.
There's really no change in this area. Still have 4 of the 6 hospitals confirmed to cost share for the ITP services. I have a meeting set up with the Cherokee Regional Medical Center CEO tomorrow afternoon, and just to discuss how this would work, what the process is basis for contracting, and hopefully we'll have a good outcome of that meeting. I did receive a phone call from Crawford County Memorial Hospital. Two of their staff had a lot of questions earlier this month, and they took the information back to their CFO and marketing director. I just got an email this morning. They have more questions. They're wanting to know what will happen if the hospitals don't cost share with us. And also, they want some parameters as far as the contract if we get to that point. They also question whether this is a requirement of Regions, which obviously is not, but we invested in this to assist our hospitals and patients to the right level of care. And also what was very palatable to us was assisting the hospitals with finding replacement through the ITP. So I have responded to their questions and concerns and hope to have something in response from them within the next couple of weeks so we can work out. Hopefully we'll be working out contracts with all of our hospitals to cost share the service going forward.
Anybody said no yet?
No. We just have Cherokee and Crawford that are pending.
BV is,
BV is with Insight, and
Okay.
they pay for that on
so
their own.
that, no, okay. So will the contracts all look, alike, or how will those, will they all be the same?
Yes, they can all be very similar. Probably, just use our regional contract and then in the attachment outline what the cost is for ITP and 50% reimbursement that hospitals make to the region, because we're going to pay ITP directly for the service, and then we'll turn around to the hospitals for their 50% portion, so that'll be revenue back into the region.
So that'll be based like on a fee per,
It's a per person basis. It's $450 per occurrence.
okay. Thank you. Any other questions for Dawn on the status of that? Okay, we'll move on then. Status of the Rolling Hills Woodbury County transition.
I have amended the management plan to incorporate Woodbury County into the plan and added all of their providers as access points because of the changes to the Chapter 25 rules that changed the access standards or established access standards and core services that are new for the regions. All of that had to be inserted in our management plan because they did not approve our amended plan without meeting the current code requirements. So that was all added. I have sent off all the changes to Jan Hikas so that she can give her view of whether it's going to pass through commission and be approved by DHS, so that you're not approving it and then it goes to the commission and has to go back. So that's the hope, is that we can get the amended management plan put forth before the board, and then it's just going to proceed up the proper channels. So that is completed. It will will be brought to the governance board at the May meeting, and then they could not get it on the commission agenda until June 20th because the May commission meeting is full. The other thing that has happened is that Woodbury County, they advertised the staffing positions that we discussed at the last meeting, and we took applications. I reviewed all the applications, screened them out a little over a week ago, and we were able to schedule interviews, which we conducted those on Monday. And we will be discussing that later in closed session. And other than that, things are just moving forward very well. One other thing that I just wanted to mention is that I met this morning with Jim France, who's the director of the ARC program, and we discussed the process of billing this summer for the ARC program, because part of the program is going to be paid by stewarders this year because it overlaps fiscal years. So we worked out that, and then also I talked with Shane yesterday, and he is willing to do the 50% share through Sioux Rivers this summer as well. So initially, it won't be the full $60,000 this summer, but getting into the program next year, there would be that extra $30,000 coming from our region. And the way Jim explained it to me, it may not be the full $30,000 this year, because he said that there are about 20 people still coming down that big of bus from Plymouth County, and I questioned him about whether they would be paying a fee for service for those individuals, and he said that that would be the case. So it may not be that we even pay the $30,000, which would be our portion going forward. They're going to prorate it out based on Plymouth and Lyon and city usage as well. So that'll have to be outlined in the contract. And Jim is going to send something to me to outline the parameters, and then we'll make sure the contract is clear as far as what we would be reimbursing.
Is there any indication moving forward with that then, in subsequent years, or are we going to be a partner with them? Will we partner with Sioux Rivers in this, for the ARC program moving forward too? or-
There is a possibility, with the amount of people that they are sending down to Sioux City to attend that, I mean, it would probably be in everybody's best interest to partner going forward if we decide to continue funding the ARC program.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So the costs for the ARP program, are those coverable from June through July based on the fiscal year? I know there's an overlap.
There's an overlap. So because Sioux Rivers, they've already agreed to help in the ARC program this year, with Woodbury County being part of Sioux Rivers. Essentially, the easiest way I can describe it is that Jim is going to, if 80% of the attendance to the ARC program are from Woodbury County, he's going to bill the portion that, 50% of that portion to Sioux Rivers for the month of June, and then 50% to us for the month of July. And then, so basically it'll be like a 80-20 split, but it's going to be based on those months. So we have approved $60,000, and Shane is willing to pay their portion out of the Sioux Rivers budget to cover the month of June, and then we'll be covering July. But then you have to consider individuals from Sioux Rivers that are attending that they're going to be billed for in the month of July. So it's not going to be that full amount as we had thought.
Thank you.
Any other questions for? No? No, we'll. Okay, we'll move on then. To number 7, new business and updates.
Jeanette Spurlock from the Center for Siouxland is here to talk about some of the services that they provide. I met with Jeanette, January, early February? Yes, and very impressed with what they offer to the residents of Sioux City. They provide a lot of services, lots of programming, and she's the expert who's going to talk about what they do. So, thanks, Tom. So we're going low tech today.
The government never wants to cooperate properly.
So as Don said, I'm John at the Center for Siouxland. I am the executive director. I've been with the organization for 15 years. Center for Siouxland's mission is helping people empower their lives and build a future. And we've been doing that for 44 years. Our agency started out as an aid to travelers, and it was a partnership with United Way, Siouxland Aging, Department of Health and Human Services. And what was happening is people were getting to Sioux City and they were getting stuck, and they didn't have money to move on, either to relocate to Sioux City or to move to wherever they were on their way to. And so our agency was started by Jean Sandman, and she said, you know what, well, this is a service that's needed in the community, let's put our heads together and come up with something. And so over the past 44 years, as the needs and services of Sioux City and the Siouxland community have changed, our agency has changed as well and evolved to meet those needs. And when I say we have provided services from soup to nuts, I'm not tricking with you. You know, I'm saying a thrift store to a shelter to, 211 information referral, we've done it all. But about 7 years ago, when I came on as the executive director, we did a strategic planning, and we really took a good hard look at the programs and services we offered, what the community was offered, and then really matched them up with our mission, helping people, empowering lives, and building futures. And then really looked at that and then said, are there things that are being duplicated in the community that maybe we don't need to be doing? Well, when we got done shaking those trees, we ended up with some core services, and they all stood out to us in one way: self-sufficiency, financial stability. So then we just really kind of moved forward from there and said, okay, that seems to be our strength. That seems to be a need in the community. Let's expand upon that. So then we ended up with the programs and services that we have today. And they really kind of focus around financial self-sufficiency and their self-sufficiency as well. So how do we help people help themselves, okay? So one of our core programs is consumer credit counseling. So we help people who are struggling financially, not give them money, but help them help themselves. So we offer credit counseling, budget management, debt management. So we work with them on their budget. Let's see what you have coming in. Let's see what you have going out, and where can we make some tweaks? And if that's not enough, what kind of things can we help you do to make arrangements with your creditors so that you can get those bills paid, so that you can move forward? So that program is, governed by the Iowa Division of Banking. And so they set the parameters on our debt management plan. So we're able to set people up on debt management plans. So help them work out payment arrangements with their creditors. They make one payment to us and we pay their creditors. Like I said, all governed by the Iowa Division of Banking. But with that program, we do a lot of outreach in the community. We partner with a lot of employers in the Siouxland area to offer informational services. So not like clear down to like budgets, but global things like identity theft, credit scores, credit reports. What does that mean? Those topics that really kind of entice a lot of people that then afterwards they say, you know what, I might be struggling. Or they wouldn't feel ashamed to come to that. But when you get down to the weeds of the budgets, then nobody wants to come to your workshops when you do that. Employers. So we do a lot of outreach in the community to just educate the community about financial situations, be whatever that topic may be. We also are a HUD certified housing counseling agency. So in Northwest Iowa, we're the only agency. So when you go north, there's nobody else. The closest one south is Council Bluffs, and the closest one to the east is Fort Dodge. And so what that means is that somebody goes on to Housing and Urban Development and says, I have to struggle with, I'm having a landlord-tenant issue. I can't pay my mortgage. Whatever it would be, or I want to know how to be a homeowner. They type in their zip code, Center for Siouxland's going to populate, and then it's going to direct them right to us. Because we're a HUD certified housing counseling agency. And that ever since our agency started 44 years ago as well. We're doing a lot of stuff with housing. So we do all of the home buyer education. We partner with Habitat for Humanity, the City of Sioux City, to offer people education about how do you be a homeowner? What does that mean? Are you ready to be a homeowner? How do you choose a lender? How do you choose a realtor? All of those real basic things that we have nothing to gain other than to make sure you're an educated person. We're not gaining financially, so we're an unbiased person that's helping give guidance and direction. Within that housing counseling program, we also do some mortgage delinquency. And I will tell you that Iowa is not out of the mortgage crisis. On the average, we receive 5 referrals a week of people in Iowa who are delinquent on their mortgage. That's still quite high. And that delinquency could be for a variety of things. Loss of job, maybe a change in familial status, possibly an illness or whatever that might be. So there's lots of reasons why somebody becomes delinquent on the mortgage. But our agency is able to work with them and to come out, work with their servicer and come up with a payment arrangement possibly for that situation. There's lots of variables in there, but that's our end goal. We also provide the representative payee program. And these are for our most vulnerable individuals in our communities, our handicapped, our disabled, our elderly, our frail. Those people who receive Social Security benefits and can be in danger of pandemic. This is a very bold statement. I've made it to the Woodbury County Board of Supervisors numerous times pre-Jeremy, is if it wasn't for the REP payee program in Woodbury County, we would see a very large increase in the homeless population. We already think we have a problem. We really would have a problem because those things fly under the radar. Whatever is going on with that person, they don't get their bills paid or people take advantage of them. We see a lot of dependent adult abuse. We're working 2 or 3 cases right now with the Sioux City Police Department on dependent adult abuse. It is happening more frequently, and those are the things that we know about. What about all the stuff that we don't know about? So I really say that that's one of our most important programs that we provide in the communities is the REP payee program. Teresa's shaking her head saying, yep, because she knows full well what we do with that program. We also have Bridges West, which is a transitional housing program for homeless individuals and families, and it's located at 3rd and Bluff Street. 22 units, we serve families and individuals, and it's for the literally homeless. So these are folks who are living on the streets, living in a shelter or in some other place that is inhabitable for human habitation. And I'm pretty sure this group has already heard about coordinated entry from STEP. Okay, so I don't need to go down that rabbit hole. So we also participate in the coordinated entry process. So which means, you know, they have to have that assessment and then they get referred to us to be part of our Bridges West program. It's a 2-year program. It's funded by HUD or another form of HUD. So either directly from HUD, state ESG or city ESG, Emergency Solutions Grant, or Shelter Assistance funds that program. And it's a 2-year program, and the sole goal there is to develop self-sufficiency. What lets you being homeless, and what do we need to do to get you going forward and to get you moved to permanent housing? Our goals in that program are simple. There's only 3 goals that we try to accomplish with that program, and they're set to us by HUD. Move to permanent housing, increase income, and increase self-sufficiency skills. They're pretty difficult to accomplish sometimes. That's one of our leanest programs that we run with staff. We only run that program with 2.5 staff. So it gets kind of tricky sometimes there. And then our final program that we offer is called VITA, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. So over this past year, we saw a 12% increase in the number of people that we serve. And this is a program run strictly by volunteers. I have 1 staff who manages 60 volunteers to make sure that people who meet the income requirements can and do receive free income tax preparation and filing. So this past year, it was $55,000 or less in households. When you're looking at Woodbury County, that's the area of median income. So a lot of households can benefit from that program. And that too is a program where we see a lot of people who are taken advantage of financially, especially if they're limited English speaking. They are taken advantage of. With our VITA program, we actually offer it in a few different locations. So we have our main location at our office. We also have a location at Mary Charlie Community House. And then we do offer a location up in Lamar's at Living Center. So you can kind of see that's really, I see somebody over here watching the clock, so that's why I'm trying to hurry. You can kind of see how everything goes together about financial self-sufficiency and stability. So a couple of interesting statistics. 67% of the clients that we serve are from the Rolling Hills District. That would include Woodbury County. But then of that 67%, about 95% of them are Woodbury County residents. But all of our services are able to be offered through phone, email, whatever it needs to be to help people. Because we do serve people from all of these counties. It's maybe not a large number, but we do. We saw a huge increase in the number of people from Cherokee County who actually utilized our free income tax prep in Lamar's. Part of that was due to our social media marketing campaign that we did to try to target that area a little bit more, to get those people over there because we knew that it was a need. Yes?
Do you want to explain a little bit about the billing process for the REP AD program so that when the board starts seeing claims come through, this is for the summer, what that involves?
Okay, so what we do is that we bill Sioux Rivers right now for our representative payee program, and we've been part of that long before I was there. And basically what we do is we identify the clients who are on our REP payee program who are right now in Woodbury, Plymouth, and Sioux counties, and then we bill them to, we get allotment of $25,000 for the whole year, and then we kind of break that down, and I don't know what it comes out to be per person. It's a minimal amount because we have about 299 clients or so that are on there.
I think it's under $10 a month.
Yep, it's under $10 a month that the region supports that program for. And it's a wonderful, I mean, we do everything for the folks that are at payee program. We make sure that all of their Talent team paperwork is filled out, all of their housing paperwork is filled out, all of their DHS paperwork, whatever it would be so that they can maintain living in whatever environment they're living in. And majority of the folks live in either assisted living or their own apartment. In assisted living, I mean like prime living, so that's pretty much their own apartment. And so we provide an array of services. We're only required to pay their bills and make sure that they have a spending allowance each month. By Social Security guidelines, that's all we're required to provide. We go above and beyond because it's a very important program to us, and we want to make sure that people are taken advantage of and that they have access to all of the services that they are entitled to and that they need to live independently. Any other questions?
I got one.
Yep.
Your housing presentation kind of impressed me. Are there any geographic boundaries?
No, we have no geographic boundaries. And I know you don't care about this, but we do go into Nebraska and South Dakota as well too.
Well, the reason I bring that up, I'm from Denison, and we're kind of a melting pot right now, and we have had numerous meetings, seminars about housing, and it's always from the side of who wants to provide it. And I think that there's probably many consumers down our way that would benefit from a class that would instruct them on looking for housing, what to look for, the pitfalls and this and that. Do you put on like 1 hour classes for prospective?
We do our classes 8 hours, but if you wanted to do something a little bit shorter, that was just, quick, down and dirty, we could do something. We also provide what's called as RentWise. And that is a 3-hour class that's all about how to be a good renter. And we're in the process right now of working out a curriculum and working with the city of Sioux City because I don't know if you know much about the Section 8 voucher program, but a person can get a voucher in Woodbury County, live in Woodbury County for a year, and then they can take it to San Diego and use it. And we all know the cost of living is higher in San Diego, but Woodbury County has to pick up the cost. And so one of those things is to try to alleviate some of that, is have a class requirement to that, so that maybe people wouldn't, take advantage of that part of the system. And so we can look at doing something around that as well too, which is a little bit shorter class, and it kind of gets into, a little bit deeper there. But we're very proud of our housing counseling program because it really has helped so many people. I mean, if you have time for one quick little story, I can tell you a story about an elderly lady whose husband had passed away, and they lived in the church house. And with him passing away, she's like, I'm going to have to move. And the church said, you know what, if you buy the house from us, you guys can stay living here because our new pastor, you can stay living here, our new pastor doesn't want to do that. So she refinanced the house, gets the loan into her name. The taxes and insurance was not escrowed. Her taxes were not paid for 3 years. She came in, and because it was being sold on tax sale, we were able to get her an abatement. Then also her house payment was $600 and some odd. Us working with her servicer, we got her interest rate lowered to 2% and her house payment, and her taxes and insurance down less than what her house payment was. And this is a person living on fixed income. If she was your neighbor, she would be struggling. Not that she's not still struggling, but it's not quite the struggle. And that's the kind of services that our agency offers. Not handouts, handouts. That's what we're doing. We're not, we want people to help themselves. We want to give them the tools that they need. Did I miss anything, Teresa? No. Any other questions? Anybody who wants to tour, wants to tour Bridges West, we are super proud of that program. Allison would love to take you on a tour of that. We went. Very impressive. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Did you learn anything, Jeremy?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Very good. Okay. Sean.
How you doing? Thank you for your time. My name is Sean Cunningham. I'm with Siouxland Mental Health. I'm the case manager for the Mental Health Board. Today I'm here to talk about our conference that we got coming up. We've been offering this conference for over 20 years. It's on May 9th, and we're excited to have a gentleman by the name of Jeff Yalden. He's going to come speak. He's from North Carolina. He mainly talks about teen suicide, but this year his focus is going to be not only on teen suicide, but he's going to talk about the effects of social media on our young folks. Really pretty much applies to anybody and everybody. But he's got a lot of good things coming in. He's got a military background as well. So I think he's got an outreach to all kinds of different people, different audiences. We also have Sister Shirley Finneran, who started Lily Mae's House, and this is for adult female survivors of sex trafficking. And she actually attended one of our conferences in 2014. We had a gal come in, Teresa, that talked about her story about being trafficked when she was a girl. And Sister Shirley thought Sioux City, that area needs to have something like that. So she's going to talk about that continuation, how she saw a need and she's looking to fill a need, so she's pretty excited about that. But we certainly invite you to register for that. You can go to Siouxland Mental Health website and hit the link for this conference. It is $75. There's 6.25 continuing education units that are associated with that. But we're looking for a fantastic day. It's held at the Stony Creek Conference Center, Hotel Conference Center in Sioux City. And if you have any questions, please reach out.
When did you say it was again, May 9th?
May 9th. Yep. Thank you.
Any other questions for Sean? Thank you. Okay, next up is the Crisis Service Task Force update.
I'm not going to go into detail on all of them. The task forces began meeting on April 4th, and we started at 8:30 in the morning. We finished around 1 that afternoon. Excellent turnout for all of the task force meetings. I know Paul, you came to the Access Center Task Force. Dennis came to all 3 of them. I would encourage you to speak up and share your view of how things went, as well as anybody that attended those task force meetings. I was very impressed with the turnout, especially from law enforcement. We had with all 3 task forces a range of 19 to 28 people that attended all the task forces, and Woodbury County's law enforcement was very well represented. We have 2 city police officers as well as 2 deputies. For the Access Center Task Force, we also had law enforcement from, Sac County was at the first 2 for Access Center Mobile Crisis, and then Beatty County was represented, 2 deputies, sheriff and deputy from the Access Center Task Force. First meeting, so there was a lot of discussion. We went through the rules, talked through concerns, potential barriers for all of the services going forward. I thought the meetings went very, very well. The interest really encouraged me as far as putting a good group of people together and being able to get down and do the work to develop these 3 particular services. We're going to meet again next Thursday here at Boulders, starting again at 8:30. In the future, because Plains area is going to talk yet today about the proposal that they're going to be requesting for mobile crisis with the implementation of July 1st. Woodbury County is going to be counted through their own, through Siouxland Mental Health. They are working on a draft proposal currently, which will probably be presented to the board at the May meeting. It's possible that this task force might not be in existence very long if we have both services up and running, and then we could just touch on mobile crisis through the Access Center Task Force. So, anything, Dennis, Holly, you'd like to add, or?
Well, I was really surprised at the turnout.
Yeah,
Very good turnout.
very, very pleased. Kim?
Yeah, I was astonished by the turnout and the input. Everybody, especially law enforcement, they had great input, and I think they were all went really well.
Yeah, I did too.
When are your next meetings?
Next Thursday, the 2nd, starting at 8:30. So you all have a copy of the minutes, and read through those if you want more detailed information. I just wanted to let you know that those have started and we're moving forward.
Okay, thank you. We'll kind of keep this moving along then. Next up, then we have Plains Area Mental Health with their proposal for the crisis, or the mobile.
Okay, I think you've seen this probably 2 or 3 times already now. we took the mobile response out of the crisis zone budget, put it back in, then we took it out. So last month, you approved just the turning point budget without the mobile crisis. So I guess what I am requesting now is to kind of throw that one out and then approve this one with the mobile crisis unit within turning point. So the request total is the $8,600 $800,000, 61,704.
Okay, so that's just adding those two columns together to get here.
Correct.
Okay.
And then you can see the projected revenues below for billing Medicaid. And as I think I discussed way back in probably January, February, maybe when we first proposed this, it really does not make any sense for it to be a standalone service. It would cost $400,000 a year, and you can see the revenues, the projected revenues, because reimbursements aren't that great. And of course, we don't know first year going in how much we're going to do. So it makes sense in my mind that we double up with the crisis home and just embed it within the crisis home.
Well, that plan made sense the first time it was in there, and I thank you for taking the time to kind of tweak it and get things dialed in there, so.
So this would start July 1. We will have to hire 4 staff.
And that is just the additional 13,000, the regular, otherwise the salaries will be coming out of the, that was already part of
Yeah,
it.
we based it on basically revenues, how many hours we're going to provide of that service. That's how much we dedicated towards mobile response.
Okay.
But it's going to be blended because we need to, all staff at the crisis home will be trained to do mobile response so that whichever shift, maybe somebody calls it sick, so somebody else has to come on. Well, they all need to be trained in mobile response.
So the efficiencies should be good.
And I just want to remind you that the amount of revenue that we were accounting for from the sales, we also accounted for that when we set our budget, just in case they fall short. So that is embedded in our budget as well.
And they are starting to pay.
I see that. So I just did the numbers yesterday, and reimbursements for this fiscal year from Plains area for Turning Points, we've received about $66,000 back. So they are starting to, the last reimbursement was over $30,000. So
Yeah. And
They're starting.
Ashley, has done a great job of those authorizations. And the one gal that was there for 2 months, they actually paid most of them.
Yeah, they denied it. She was with us for a couple of months and I appealed it and I never got a response, but I guess them paying for the stay is the
So then
response.
they just started paying. So yeah,
Did
we're
they
not
pay
going
for the
to
whole time?
So far,
Wow.
there's, I think, a couple weeks. So I'm waiting to see if that comes in. But they paid over half of it so far.
Wonderful.
So we're starting to get that straightened out. We still, with United Healthcare, have an issue with them paying the wrong amount. It's been an ongoing issue for 6 months. They know that it's a problem. We still can't get it fixed. But it's everybody in the state. So we're continue to work on that, especially now that they're exiting. So
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that,
well, I wrote a letter to Director Foxhoven as well as the IME Director Randall and CC'd some legislators. So, because I think it's around $200,000.
well, that's just you.
Yeah, that's just how.
Yeah, so alone.
Kim, I like the idea of the cross-training. I do have a question, though. Have you gotten any pushback from the existing staff that may have reluctance to be part of the mobile response part of the team?
I don't think so.
No, everyone just wants to make sure that they are accurately trained, they know what's going to be expected of them, how it's going to work and everything, but nobody's had an issue with it so far.
Okay.
And you'll be covering all 7 counties.
Yes. And well, we proposed this in January, so the staff were, when's it coming? When's it coming? Because We've been talking about it for a long time. And then they will also have our 24/7 on-call therapists as backup. So we call them. We are setting them all up with Zoom so they can do telehealth if need to. So that is interesting.
I'm guessing if you have a call, you'll take the patient/client to the closest medical facility? Or how will transporting if there's transportation involved, how will that be impacted or affected?
The transportation will be coordinated through the crisis home as they already do for people that need to be transported to the crisis home or to the hospital. That will all be coordinated through the crisis home.
Okay.
And we do contract with the Yes Center. They provide some transportation, but we also provide transportation.
Anybody else have any other questions for Kim?
So basically, you're requesting the full amount, the $861,000, and then you intend on giving us the revenue as it
Right.
comes.
We'll continue the reverse payment once as money comes in.
So there'll be a little lag in all of that, obviously.
And I just met with Iowa Total Care today. My hope went from here to here,
Good.
that it will be okay. So, yeah. So I'm hopeful that it'll be a lot smoother transition with them than we had in the past with some services. So hopefully right off the bat, those payments will come in.
But any shortfall will be borne by the region.
We tried budgeting
I know that, yeah.
some of that, so. Ashley, not to put you on the spot, but I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Okay.
So you talked about the one where you just had that quick conversation, that you got some reimbursement for, that was one client?
Yeah.
So they were there more than, I mean, isn't kind of the goal a 5 to 7 day?
Uh-huh.
So it was that one was a longer, just for my clarification, it was probably a 2 week or longer?
Longer.
Okay.
2 months.
2
They
months.
they were homeless,
Okay,
very high needs, mentally and intellectually. So it took us a very long time to find them placement.
okay. That's fine, I just was, okay. Want to see if anything has changed there in our,
Yes,
Kind of a
our maximum
mission.
stay is 10 days now, and we have to get approval by the insurance companies after 5 days.
okay.
And we haven't had an issue thus far in that regard if we need anyone to stay over the 5 days. We've gotten those authorizations approved.
Thank you.
Well, Ashley, I always ask, what has our occupancy been? Our bed nights, roughly?
I don't know. I was just working on this 2 weeks ago, too.
We have seen a slight increase.
Yes, as the weather's gotten nicer, our beds have gone up, which is good. But we're still not where we want to be for our average census for April. We're still at 2, and we want to be at 4 at minimum. So we still have some work to do on that.
Thank you.
But adding the mobile piece of that should actually probably help that
That's what we're hoping.
census too.
Or at least utilize the staff more.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just,
Right.
become more efficient, which we're all.
And we do expect the census to go up because it will be people that run the crisis home, explaining the crisis home. And, a lot of people just don't know what it is. They don't want to go there. So our hope is that that will increase.
We're gonna fight that battle though, forever, so.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions for Kim? You've got the proposal in front of you. And again, this was, again, originally proposed back in January, and we on again, off again, on again. So we're, I guess I'll ask what the board wishes to do with this. Do you want to move forward?
Well, explain to me, are we voiding what we originally budgeted for Turning Point and then turning around and approving a all-inclusive budget? Is that?
Right, we're just adding, this is what we approved,
Yeah,
the last one. So then we're adding this 39,000 roughly
right.
back into it to come up with this total.
Yeah, we have to void the one that are we voiding the one that we approved previously? Or just a new one for the 39,000?
I think for technical purposes, you could rescind the previous approval of the contract and then it was all inclusive. Or you could just motion to add the extra $38,911 to the contract.
It's the same either way.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference?
As long as it's clear in the minutes that we are only adding the extra $40,000.
I think it'd be more clear if we just do the addition and have the motion for the addition of 38,911 for the mobile crisis unit, which will be the same location. That's my opinion.
Is that your motion?
That'll be motion.
Okay.
And that covers it, Kim?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I'll
That's
second
fine.
that.
However you guys
Neil,
want.
would you like me to read the motion?
Yes, I would.
A motion to approve the Plains Arizona Health Center Mobile Crisis proposal of $38,911 to be added to the Turning Point contract previously approved.
Very well. Read.
And Louise, I seconded that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The motion will carry. That was Neil. Okay, next up is the legislative updates.
Last month, we went through both pieces of legislation to discuss what is contained within those documents. And just quick update, unless something's changed in the last 24 hours, both bills have passed through the Senate, and they are both waiting for governor's signature. I don't anticipate that being an issue unless anybody has more recent information that I don't. They're still waiting signature. One thing that I probably didn't highlight enough last month, and Dennis Butler asked me about this when he came, there is a provision in the law that allows a county to recertify their budget within 30 days of becoming law for House File 691. So if you feel that there is any reason to recertify a county's budget after it is signed into law, you have 30 days to do that. And then that could be an adjusted levy for next fiscal year. Just wanted to point that out because I don't think I really honed in on that because I knew the intention of the board was not to have to recertify the budget. Is there any need to consider that in your mind?
Well, the only thing, because this has, so the fund balance is a percentage we're allowed, we've already spent down.
You have a 40%
So then we'd-
threshold now with the new legislation.
Okay, so right now, our target was 30%, which
Right.
we were at, so, I mean, that's kind of, I guess, up to us if you want to go through all that to.
Well, that trickle,
Change your levy is what it would do.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Does it trickle down to each county then having to redo their budgets?
Yes, if you decide to recertify, it would be across the board.
You'd have to do basically just for the levy that we're.
Right. But we budgeted to be ending next year with a 30% fund balance, so it would roughly bring in an extra $400,000 to recertify to get to that 40%. But that's entirely up to you when you want to do that.
Do you think the 30% is going to be enough?
I was gonna say, because yeah, the children's piece of this is
And there was
gonna
no
come out of
funding
that
attached
same,
to the children's
that was
development.
gonna come out of that same
Right.
ending fund
The
balance we
only, the
have.
only money that I'm hearing about for the children's system is $700,000 to fund coordinators across the state, and that's not going to go very far.
With the original children's legislation, we were to add 3 new members to the board here, 2 which are voting members. Will they vote on all matters or just matters pertaining to children?
That's a good question. They're part of the governing board. My understanding would be that all matters, but that's a really good question, Neil, that I will ask ISAC. Jamie Cashman may have an answer to that, or their legal counsel.
I guess my preference would be, I'm reluctant to have to go back and open up our budget. We had a small levy increase anyway, and tell me if I'm wrong, but if we want to increase our carryover balance, the only way we do that is by increasing each county levy.
Right.
I guess we have, going forward, we have the ability to go to what, 42 something? I guess I'd rather tackle that next year in the budget as going back and reopening our, as far as Crawford County, I would not want to go back and open that budget.
And it may be difficult to justify that to the taxpayers that you're recertifying your budget to lower fund balance as well.
Yes, I think that would be quite a challenge.
And I just wanted to make you aware of that because I was remiss at the last meeting and not pointing that stipulation in the law out to you because I know it wouldn't be something you probably want to consider, but I just want you to make aware that that is an option.
I remember you pointed
Well-
it out, but I thought you did. Maybe it's just you.
I don't recall that I really honed in on that enough. Maybe I didn't. Well, I sent an email to all of you and I got a couple of responses. Okay, yeah.
Well, I still want to get, some input from one of our players here, so.
Yeah, I'd echo, I know we're not a voting member, but I'd echo the same sentiment. I mean, I think it's tough to go back at this point. The concern I have is if the fiscal note for FY20 is estimated to cost regions about $3.7 million, and we're roughly 15% of the population of the state, and that translates to 558,000. Will we take from those monies that were looked at for standing up some of the new core services? I mean, where is that going to, I mean, maybe that's an unanswerable thing at this point.
It's a good question, because I don't know that we have the answer.
So that's, I know that's kind of an unrelated thing, but that's.
And the 40% is only a one-time deal anyway, isn't it?
You have to be at 40% by 2022. It gives you 2 more years to spend your fund balance down to 40%. And see, we're already gearing up towards 30% next year because of the way we've done our budget adjustments. Because when we started this process with the legislation, we were about 90% fund balance, and now we're projecting it in this year with 58, and then even further down next year because of what we have in place currently for legislation. So it's not like we're a county that disregarded the law and kept 75% of it in any fund balance. Some of the regions have high balances yet, and they are not projecting to get down to the fund balance threshold. So we're going to just hold on to those dollars and then follow the provision where you have to reallocate anything over those thresholds back to the counties in terms of property tax relief.
But you're saying that would only be a one-time shot anyway, right? If you were.
Well, that's how I see it. I might be wrong, but I guess that I would rather go forward and knowing that if we need to add money, we do it straightforward and increase the levy the next time.
Dennis?
My concern wasn't related to this. My concern is when we estimate our tax asking to the taxpayer, we had a certain dollar amount we had to raise per capita. Okay, to raise that, we did lower our asking the taxpayer by that amount of $1,445,000. Now we've heard an estimate from Sue Rivers from Shane saying it's going to be $1,300,000. How do we make up the difference between $1,445,000, say $1,345,000, $100,000 gap? can we go back and raise our individual tax rate on our local taxpayers and make up the difference so we do come across with our $1,445,000? Otherwise, we're going to be short. That was basically my question. Not to recertify the whole region budget, to recertify our individual county budget to generate the 100,000.
I think you're in a unique situation the first year around too. So if you change yours and we don't change ours, I don't think that's a problem, do you?
Right. I don't think so. I've talked with Carrie down in Department of Management and explained the situation. She said you'd have an opportunity to raise it. Normally you can't raise it because we publish our taxes. But this is a circumstance above and beyond normal circumstances. And maybe it will come $1,145,000, maybe $1,005,000. We don't know. Because we're hearing different numbers. Every month we're hearing a different number from Sioux Rivers. So I'm going to ask again this week, what is your projection for us to have at the end of the year? So we have an idea of where to go, so we can adjust it by, say, June 1st, before they actually certify the rates back to the individual counties. Once they're certified back, they're locked. You can't change them. So I'd rather be on the safe side, levy more, to be safe that we do have the money, and then if we know the balance will be big, we come back and reduce. You can always reduce any time before the state sends out their certifications in June. But you can't raise them, and this is extras, it's a circumstance probably none of the other counties got. I don't know, they may when they join another region, but we said we come across with $1,445,000, but also our actual asking to make a total to cover what we said we'd do. I want to make sure we do that. We're vulnerable to how they spend their budget and what they do. Maybe they'll underspend their budget. If they do, that's great. We'll have more money to bring in. But I want to make sure we do bring in what we said we're going to bring in. So maybe that's a department management question, but no way do we want to recertify your whole budget like that. It's an individual case of bringing the money across we said we bring.
Yeah, that's been a challenge, even projecting your budget at any balance for next year, is because it's a moving target. It was 1.4 when we did the budget, and now it's 1.3. But then both times, I've been told it could be higher, so.
Pretty big moving target.
It should be getting, it should be getting smaller and smaller rather than, if you're 10 out of your 12 months, and I understand there's reconciliation there, hopefully there's more granularity rather than less sooner than later.
In reality, if we take what they have on balance right now and what the rest of the counties have to pay them for their share of their taxes, take their total budget, assuming they don't exceed their total budget, we should be able to get a pretty close estimation because that includes all your accruals too. Because your accruals go back against your budget, so they can't go over it unless they publish a new budget and say, yes, we are going over it. I haven't heard they're doing that, so we come up, and I did that once, it was about $1.5 million, and then their CEO came back and says $1.3 million, so we got a little difference. But I just want to make sure we're protected and you're protected, that we do bring the money. If we bring more, fine, but I don't want to bring less. But we'll keep you informed where we're at, keep Don informed.
Does Shane do all their financial, I didn't see their, and I'll go
They can
on.
write doctor.
Julie, who does all of the finances for Sioux Rivers? I've always been told it's a joint process with the administrative team.
The fiscal agent is out of Sioux County.
It's our county auditor, Ryan Docker.
But actually, who sets the budget? I mean, who develops the mental health budget and looks at levies and?
Shane does.
Shane is in charge. Okay. Yeah, I knew it was that group process.
Okay. When do they meet again?
They met yesterday.
Yesterday, so that'll be another month before. And then you're 11 months into it with only one to go, right?
Did they talk at all about what they're projecting for an ending balance at the meeting yesterday?
Well,
Every month is different.
they gave the fund balance as of, a current.
Yeah.
Do you recall all that?
2 million something.
Teresa's saving them money though by getting people out of our CFs, so it should be good.
If Rolling or Sioux River stays within their budget, we should be all right. far as I know they are. They give some additional monies out, but I can have other appropriations to cover. So that's the key. If they stay within their budget, we should be fine, and maybe even have more than $1,445,000. Like I said, I just don't want to be short.
You'll be on top of it, I'm sure,
Yes.
so.
And I'll keep Jeremy obviously informed, as your future member, plus you and Dawn.
Thank you. Okay, anything else on the legislative side? When do they plan on closing the session? Have you heard?
Well, Steve Holt thinks like in a week to 10 days.
By the end of the month, this Friday?
I heard they're gonna try for this Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some of them that want to do it early.
Okay. Okay. Well, next up on the agenda, we do have a scheduled closed session, and in reference to the Iowa Code, Chapter 21.5, subset I, the Code of Iowa, to evaluate, basically for our
Personnel issue.
personnel issues that we need to address as part of the transition. So, Dawn, are we gonna move, or are we gonna?
She said the only other place to meet is out in the lobby, so I think it would be better for us just to stay here.
Stay
And
here?
then, yeah, whoever wants, yeah.
Hey, don't stand outside if you don't have to. So,
Or in the lobby. She said, I said, I've got a big group, they may all be coming in, she said, I'm totally fine.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we go into closed session.
they already. So we do have.
Motion to go into closed session?
Yeah, but we do have folks that will be discussing that want to go into closed session. They're the ones that have.
Call me and we'll figure out. I will confirm that when we start the closed session, yes.
This off now.
Thank you.
Do we have to motion to go out of open session on the tape?
Yeah, we probably do. 'Cause we have-
I just,
So I have a motion from Cecil. Do I have a second? I have a motion from Cecil and a second from Dennis.
You can hear everything you're saying.
To go into closed session.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We're going to do this by roll call, I think we have to. So, Carroll County, Neil? Buena County, yes. And Buena Vista County, Paul Martin, yes. So we will go into closed session to discuss personnel matters.
I can probably shut it off now.
No, we're recording now, we're back in session. Okay, we're back in session. We're out of closed session and open again.
Jeremy's going around.
I don't know, did Jeremy and Dennis leave? Okay, did he find his phone, I wonder? He must have. Okay. So next on the agenda, number 9, would be the Woodbury County personnel recommendations. So I think the process would go that the committee that did the interviews would make a recommendation to our board, who would then make the recommendation to the Woodbury County Board for the hiring of these positions. So it's not a done deal yet, it still has to go a couple steps, but we're there. Is this where we announce? Okay. So we did interview for 3 positions. The coordinator position, a coordinator / support staff, kind of a split position there, and then the position of mental health advocate. We did have 8 of the, well, one person didn't show for the interview, but of the 8 that showed, we had 8 tremendous interviews, and was very impressed. When we ended the day, we did our ranking, and we've moved on from there. So I guess what we would do here to recommend to this board, that the position of coordinator, we would recommend Teresa Yoakum. For the position of coordinator / support staff, we would like to recommend Julie Albright. And for the position of mental health advocate, we would like to recommend Cindy Weimold. And then we also, in our discussion and looking forward as part of the region, we also looked at what will be coming up or what's on the horizon, not only with the children's piece of it, but staffing into the future. We also would like to retain Ann Landers as, I guess, the position we need to figure out the title, or it'll be advocate /
Advocate support.
Oh, and support.
For 6 months.
Okay.
On a temporary 6-month basis.
A proposed 6-month temp, so, yep, and then transferring into the clerical piece, which we'll be having to replace that piece at the end of the calendar year as well. So actually, we are recommending to this board to recommend to the Woodbury County Board of 4 positions. And again, Teresa, Julie, Cindy, and Ann. So that's what we're recommending to this board.
Do we need a motion to authorize this board to make that recommendation to Woodbury? I'll make that recommendation our motion that we recommend these 4 people for the 4 positions that we have outlined to be advanced to Woodbury County for final approval.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any other questions? Louise, did you?
So Cecil, you made a motion to recommend the above 4 persons, and I can list them in your motion. I can put that in there, to Woodbury County
For final approval.
for final approval and
Yes.
hiring?
For hiring.
Yes.
Okay.
Our recommendation is that Woodbury County would hire these.
And second by
Dennis? Okay. Everybody good
Do we
with
have to
that?
discuss anything in regards to staff or the salaries that are recommended?
Yeah, you probably should, otherwise.
Yeah, that should probably be part of the record. We do that. Well, we do it when we hire. So I don't know if that happens here. Does that happen at the
Well, we're
Woodbury
going to
Board?
recommend the salaries.
Oh, we're
that we
recommend,
have.
so we're recommending the
Yes.
salaries as well, okay.
We're recommending Tracy Yoakum at a salary of $66,000 as of July 1st, Julie Albright at $52,500, Cindy Weimold $52,500, and Ann Landers at $52,500.
That's what I said in my motion.
Okay.
That's part of the motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll list those with their names above it, and then it'll be in the motion. How's that? Is that, I need you to be.
Maybe
I'll
for,
clean that up.
Yes.
Louise, because we don't, because we discussed it, but if somebody reads the minutes, we should probably put in there that Ann is a 6-month temp.
Right, I have retained Ann Landers as
Okay.
advocate support staff for 6 months, and transferring later into a clerical.
Okay,
support
great.
position.
That's just what we want.
Clerical support, what did you say?
So I see we have 3 of the 4 here. Is that everything sound?
Thank you.
We're okay with that? Okay. All right. So I'll meet the rest of the team. Well, you met the rest of the team. But, okay. So I'll call, is there any other questions or comments on this? If not, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Well, one step closer.
Yeah.
There you go. So,
I didn't do it.
What's that?
so the next, the last item of business then will be the, setting the next meeting, which assuming is the fourth Wednesday, May 22nd at 2:30 PM right here again in this location. Is there a motion to that effect? Does that work for everybody?
Second.
Oh, who made that motion?
Dennis.
Dennis and,
Thank you.
all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Nothing else needs to come before the board. I'll accept,
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
thank you.
Oh, that was, oh, never mind. I thought that was a motion to adjourn.
No, that was,
It's up to me.
I'll second the motion to adjourn.
All right, I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay.